What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of FAQOV. Happy holidays, and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that everyone watching this is enjoying everything that the season has to offer. And today we're taking the video from a different perspective than we usually do, with a different camera than we usually use. And it all relates to a really great question that my good friend Yogi has asked. And he's a very talented and incredibly gifted bassist and musician. He's a good friend of mine, and he is in a new musical project called Turncoat, which I would like you to go check out after watching this video. And I will include descriptions to that musical project in the description of this video as well. So go check out Turncoat. Now, here is Yogi's question. Does everyone misinterpret the sound of their own voice after hearing a recording of it? Or is that just me? And it turns out, Yogi, that it is not just you. This is a phenomenon that occurs for the majority of people. They do not like the sound of their own voice. Some people will go so far as to say that they hate the sound of their own voice. And this phenomenon not only is found in hearing the sound of one's voice, but it can also be found in looking at photos of oneself, watching video of oneself, or even looking in the reflection. Say that someone lost a limb recently and has had that limb for years and looks in the reflection of themselves and still feels that limb there, has a phantom limb phenomenon occurring. It's all very similar and relates to feeling uncomfortable with another perception of ourselves. So now let's take this up to the tripod here, because I'm going to show you an interesting little exercise that you can use to help you understand how your voice sounds around the room and also how your voice sounds inside your head, and divide that phenomenon into those two things. So here's the way that your voice sounds around the room. When you do this exercise that I am showing you right here in this video, you will hear how your voice reverberates around the room, or it would sound to someone else hearing you, or how it would sound going into a microphone and being played back to you. That's the first half of what you perceive all day, every day. The second part of what you perceive is this. Plug your ears for a second. What you will hear is what you hear inside your head all day, every day. The vibration of your neck muscles, the vibration of your jaw and the bones inside your face, your sinuses, they all relate to what your eardrum perceives inside your head. Bring the two together, and that's what you perceive, like I said, all day, every day. So when you hear a recording of yourself, you're only getting half, let alone 40% of what you perceive, of what you're comfortable with, of what you're familiar with. You're getting this. So the more often you do this exercise, or the more often that you record yourself, the more comfortable you will become with the sound of your voice. Now, what's interesting though is that this phenomenon isn't just limited to what you hear. It's also the way, like I said earlier in this video, the way you see yourself in photos, in video, or even a reflection of yourself. So, and people get very uncomfortable with that. You know, it's cringeworthy sometimes. So, with that said, you can do one of two things if you don't like something about yourself. You can either change it by improving upon it, progressing at something, or you can own it. You can either change it or own it. So say that you have a nasally sounding voice. You can either change it to make it sound more rich. You can change it by going to a vocal coach, watching YouTube videos, informing yourself, and gaining knowledge on the subject. Or you can own it. You can become the king of the nasal sound. You can go and make that part of what makes you unique. You can accentuate that attribute. So when you hear a recording of yourself, you can either, use that as reference material to either change what you hear or accentuate what you hear. When you see a photo of yourself, if you don't like what you see, if you feel like you could lose some weight, then do something to change that. Go on YouTube, look up videos on nutrition and exercise, or own it. Own the build of your body, whether you're skinny or whether you're a little more curvy. Own what you have. You lose a limb, like a guy that I'm going to use as an example for this part of the video. Derek Weida. He is he's an Army veteran. He lost his limb serving our country in the airborne. And when he lost his limb, he was given a choice between two things. One, he could just give up and just, decide to, let go of life. But he decided to own his attribute, his newly claimed attribute, and became one of the strongest, most successful athletes, CrossFit trainers, and health and nutrition specialists. You can find his stuff on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description of this video below that you will find anywhere. Really, really inspiring story of how someone took something that they could not change and owned it. So if there's something that you want to change it. And if you don't want to change it or don't want to put the energy into changing it, own it, accentuate it, celebrate it, accept it. Just like I accept my big ears and my snaggletooth. It's okay. It's all good. All the people that love and care for me don't even notice. So that's it, my friend. There's those few exercises that you can use to change the perception of how you sound. These two things that you can do. I've included, I forget if I mentioned this earlier in the video, but I've included a few supplemental articles on that subject of not liking the sound of your own voice or not liking the perception of yourself outside your own reality, this perception as opposed to the perception outside. And also on how to go about either changing it or owning it. So those are the two things as far as that topic is concerned. And I hope that you've enjoyed this video, Yogi, and that it answered your question and that everyone watching this found it useful. If it did, share it, comment upon it. I want to hear more from you, everyone. I want the questions to keep rolling in. I love making these videos and I want to keep doing it for as much as I possibly can for a consistent amount of time. So until next week, everyone, always remember, practice makes progress. And with that in mind, go find your voice. See you later.